I am doing fine. Thank you very much for having me, especially in Allentown today. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, I want to start with Red Nose Day because Red Nose Day is coming up on March 19th. And did you know Red Nose Day was started for comic relief? Yay! There we go. So, comic relief is people in the medical business having comedy and it keeps you healthy. So that's what I'm all about because I am actually a real nurse and all your health starts up in your head and goes down to your toes. Sometimes I actually bring my toes on stage. Don't worry, I won't do that today. So, what I want to tell you people is that we're talking about health, and I know Tom talked a little bit about that. I'm going to give you guys your first medical check out on Zoom. And don't worry, you won't have to pay me. I know a lot of the doctors are doing medical procedures even on Zoom. So this is how it works. When I'm on stage, see, I put my real gloves on. And now I'm going to ask you in the audience, when I say three, clap 2 times. So we'll do it all together. Remember, I say three, you clap 2 times. One, two, three. Oh my gosh, I could hear it. You did so good. Then I take off my gloves, I throw them in the audience, and I say, I deem you healthy because your health starts up here and it goes all the way down. So I'm going to tell you some medical faux pas that actually happened. I have a cousin that worked in the OR, and the doctor walks in and says, why does this say baloney amputation? She goes, Doctor, it actually says below the knee amputation. Yep, you got to be careful. And this happened to me. I was working at UCLA, big hospital, and I said to the doctor, the lady can't chew. I think she needs a pureed diet. Now, we all know pureed means mush, mush, mash, mash. It's good when you don't have a lot of teeth. And he writes PUREEGG. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. And besides, her cholesterol is high. So, the other thing I got to remind people about when it gets real hot, which it's not today, and you have to keep your electrolytes up and you have to drink water and Gatorade, it doesn't mean you go to Disneyland or Disney World and look at those electric lights because that's not going to help your electrolytes, people. That's right. So I'm one of those crazy nurses, and somehow I got two really good boys. I don't know how that happened. But I think my theory is the good kids have to go somewhere, so they go to a loony mom. So my older son was going to a party and the girl was turning 16. And you know how boys are, they don't look. So I sent him with a card and had some gift cards in. He got home, he goes, oh, I was so embarrassed. She opened the card and all the gift cards went flying. I go, I know, that was a darn good gift. He goes, Mom, come on. Target 2.99, Starbucks 3.50. I even put a Borders card in there. Yep, it still had 3.50 on. Okay, technicality, Borders closed, but maybe she could find some use for it. So anyway, all the gift cards, there was probably like 15 of them. They added up to $16 and the girl turned 16. Isn't that a good idea? So, because I grew up in Pennsylvania, I'm super super thrifty, and my dad would always say, everything has 5 or 6 uses. You know what I'm talking about. So I was cleaning the floor the other day with my husband's old socks. And he's like, I haven't seen those in a while. I go, I know, they're in the bottom of your drawer and they have holes in. And I'm wiping the floor and he goes, where'd the water come from? I go, honey, I carry it with me. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It's water, it's free. The other thing that my favorite 4 letter word starts with an F and it's free. So when my sons were growing up, I would tell them that if we all ran to like the local fast food place, like McDonald's or Burger King, whichever one was closer, it would be really good for our health and we'd lose weight. And that's where we would do our number two and use the toilet paper there. So I hardly ever had to buy toilet paper. The other reason why I never bought toilet paper was our neighbors. Our neighbor kids decorate their tree in 2-ply toilet paper. That's what happens here in Orange County. So I would bring my boys outside. I say, come on, we're going to clean the neighbor's trees. And while we're doing it, we're separating it. Who needs 2-ply? And we're pulling them apart. And they're like, this is so gross. It has leaves and twigs. And I said, shut up. We're going to use this. This is now organic. So, see, you really don't have to buy toilet paper. You guys know that. You can go to McDonald's, use their napkins. I mean, save money. Come on. So, going back to the nose thing, did you used to do that trick with your kids, your grandkids? Got the nose. I always wondered, where did those noses end up? Do you think they went to a plastic surgeon's office and he could use them again? Recycle. Maybe they're in a jar. I don't know, but that got me thinking. The other thing is that one of my sons is a veterinarian in Texas. I know somebody's on here from Texas. And I grew up afraid of animals. So I don't know how this happened, but I didn't want to give him my fear. So, but I am the one that kills the things in our house. Just, little things like spiders. And when I lived in New York City, cockroaches. So the other day, this big spider was there. My husband's like, I'm not killing it. And our son wasn't going to kill it. So I was ready to kill it. He goes, Mom, take it out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I took the spider out. We sat down, had a few drinks. I learned that spider was in some pretty cool web designing. Not me, I can't do web things. And then Spider learned some cool facts about me. So next time you're thinking about killing a spider, take it out, have a few drinks. My nose is itching talking about spiders. Oh, another good thing about when my boys were little, I was like the crazy mom. Like if they didn't want to take a bath, I'm like, what can I do? I know I'll turn into Ethel Merman. So I said, there's no business like soap business. Now go take your bath. And that just scared them. They ran and took a bath. Then they got older and they didn't want to shower. And I'm like, okay, we'll bring in some opera. You are stinky and you're crotchy. You must shower today. Don't forget your pits. They're like, Mom, that's weird. So yeah, they showered. So go figure. Our other son lived in China and he speaks Mandarin. I grew up in Pennsylvania. We think Mandarin is a food and it's a fine cuisine. So when he came home, it was Christmas time and I wanted to bond under the tree and sing some of those Chinese Christmas songs. And he's like, Mom, don't go there. That's politically incorrect. But I had to remind our boys that everything under our tree, yep, everything came from China. You know where I'm going on that one. Yep. But not my boys. They're Italian. Well, I'm not really Italian. I'm Slovak Hungarian, and my husband is Irish and German. And yes, my mom grew up in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and she was in the Slovak singing group and sang about the Tatra Mountains. So I traveled all during COVID. I went back to see her. I traveled all over the place. And airlines have gotten so cheap. They charge you for everything. So my friend who sells Tupperware, I don't have them on today, but I'm going to show you. She gave me these two round disc things, and I put them in my top when I travel. And sometimes I'll put fruit in or something. Now, I was traveling recently, so I'm going to open them up and see. Oh, look, there's a chocolate in one of them. So, chocolate keeps in them. And now, in this one, some of you people will like this. I brought a little bottle of alcohol. So, I was traveling and I took these out, and some guy sitting next to me goes, ah, you're from Pennsylvania. I bet you brought another one of those down below with sauerkraut. I said, sir, that would be awfully stinky on the plane. But on a medical note, did you know sauerkraut, kimchi, and pickles are very good for your brain? It's brain food. So next time, leave the Valium at home and just bring sauerkraut or pickles. Pickles are good. You people like those in Allentown. Pickles are very good. It keeps your brain healthy. And I do have a high number. I know Tom talked about getting old. I'm not getting older. My number just gets higher because I want to live to be 100. Almost there. Woo, getting close. I don't believe in the word old. So I just say, I have a freaking high number. So I'm going to go back to when I was traveling all during COVID. I traveled when the planes were empty. I traveled with mask, without mask. And I went back to see my mom because she was getting physical therapy at home. And she was so excited. She says, I have my own physical therapist. He's this cute little guy. And I got to meet him. He really was. And she got all excited and told me about how she started to do the steps and she put one foot and the other foot. And she was telling me all this. And then she said, do you want to know what happened next? And I said, Mom, you probably put the other foot up and the other foot up. And she went, oh my gosh, how do you know that? So, well, I kind of remember when you taught me to walk maybe 100 years ago or 70 or 60, whatever the number was. But it's kind of neat because as we get older, as our number gets higher, we remember little things from our childhood. And I just think that's so special. Like, I grew up with a bunch of uncles. And when I talk too fast in my shows, I tell the people to put their hands up like this and say pause. And that's good because I have a son who's a vet and we can pause and have a drink. But I may just do one of these things. Yes, I'm the only barking comic out there. Now, the scary thing is, I've done that on stage, and some dogs come near me, and I'm afraid of dogs, but I'm learning. I just kind of push them back, and okay, doggy. So, our son, the vet, he sent me to the pet store for this special food for our dachshund. Now, dachshunds have to eat all kinds of special things, and I took a picture, I wrote it down. I was so sure that this is what I was going to get. But I got there, and guess what happened? Instead of a white dog being on the cover, it was a little black dog. I was like, oh, this isn't good. So I called a meeting in aisle 5, and we had about 10 people that came to my spur of the moment meeting. Worked out well. And I said, so what happened? Why did the dogs get switched? And is it the same food? And they assured me, they said, it's the same food. I said, well, how would I know? And they said, look, it's the same ingredients. And I wanted to know the backstory. Like the dog that was on the first cover, did he die? Is he getting residuals? As an actor, I do get residuals. So anyway, they assured me it was the same. I brought it home, and Chris said, Mom, it's okay. You did good. Whew, dodge that bullet. I mean, it was really scary. So yeah, my uncle Geza Horvath in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, he's the one that taught me how to bark. So some people are going like this, slow down, girl. Let's have a drink and let's pause again. I'll drink to that, and I'll even bark to that. Yep, that's the way it goes. So I also want to tell you there's been a lot of porch theft lately. I don't know if you're having that out there, but we got a Ring doorbell because our son said you got to get a Ring doorbell. So now I could see the people that walk by with their dogs and I could see the mailman, but it got me thinking, like, how do people steal porches? I mean, our porch is pretty solid, but I don't know. I heard there's porch theft out there, so that one's kind of scary. I'm going to go back to my free stuff. So I realized that news people, we live in Los Angeles, Orange County, they get a lot of free stuff. So I'm like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive into a fast food place, talk like a news person, and let's see if it works. So I drive in and I said, I would like 2 fish tacos, and the fish must be absolutely dead. And the kid just gave it to me. He goes, here, quick, go. I'm like, oh, thank you. That worked well. So where else can I do this? Oh, I know. I walked into a TJ Maxx and I said to the woman, I would like a purse. It must look like leather, but no animals must be harmed. And it should be about the color of yours. And she goes, here, take it. So I go out to my car. I kid you not. It had lipstick, wallet, keys, lipstick. Good thing I like the color. Free lipstick. So you too can try it and it works well. The other thing is like these news people, they talk staccato and so fast. The other day I was watching the news and some man said, there's a fire and the fire is coming down the hill. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens. And then there's a reporter and she's out in the ocean, almost getting wet. And she goes, here comes the whale and the whale is coming in. I'm thinking that's where the whales would come. They're not going to come in your bathroom, people. Although I heard in Florida, you guys get alligators. Aren't you lucky? I don't know. That's on my list. Maybe I'll move to Florida someday. But right now, I do like California. I have one son in Texas who's a veterinarian, and one son in Northern California who speaks Mandarin. I don't speak Mandarin, but I do love the cuisine. I gotta say. Oh, this is my other thing I have to tell you about. It's going to come up again. There's going to be lots of people running for president. Lots of them. Remember when Bernie was running? Well, I heard that Bernie and Oprah were coming up with a deal. And you know how Oprah likes to give away things, free this, free this. Well, Bernie went on. He says, I'm going to give colonoscopies for everybody. You get a colonoscopy. You get a colonoscopy. You get a colonoscopy. That would have been pretty cool. I don't know. Would we have voted for Bernie just to get a free colonoscopy? It's something to think about. So, yeah, we all need to stay on top of that and get your colonoscopy, and it's probably free because, I just turned that special age. I'm still learning how all the healthcare stuff works. It's kind of odd. So this happened at a local church. The pastor said, you know, it's beer and wine and alcohol is not important to me. So if I had all the beer in the world, I would throw it in the river. And the people go, Amen. They like that. He said, if I had all the wine, I would throw it into the river. And they said, Amen. Then he got into the heavy whiskey. And if I had all the whiskey in the world, the pastor said, I would throw it into the river. And then there was a pause, and the choir director said, we are going to sing Down by the River. What's the name of that song? I gotta look it up. What's the name of that song about the river? Oh, shall we go into the river? And all the people left early and also said, Amen. And this happened once at a bar where a friend of mine was working, that the guy drank the drink so fast and then he started chewing on the glass. He went, that is odd. So he wasn't going to give him any more, but the guy said, I'm going to pay double. So he gave him another martini and he, did the same thing. And he ate the whole glass. And my friend called in his friend, who's a psychiatrist, and said, what do you think is wrong with this guy? He said, well, I think he has problems because he did not eat the stem of the glass. And that's the best part. So I'm going to end here and tell you guys that I just think life should be fun. And every day there's little faux pas out there. So look for those moments where somebody maybe says something funny and go up to them and pat them on the back and say, that was really a nice one. Because I think acknowledging people and saying, how you doing, and talk to them. I traveled a lot. I told you that. And I love to do this. I walk into the bathrooms where the ladies are cleaning up, and that's a hard job. And I clap really big and they jump a little. And I said, thank you so much for coming to work today. I drink a lot of coffee, water, tea, juice, beer. I like my beer. And I thanked him. And she like cried. I had some lady cry on my shoulder once. So I just think it's really important to talk to strangers, get out there, enjoy your moments. And for my son who speaks Mandarin, he taught me this Zaijian. That means goodbye.